So, my little secret lock aficionados, we all know about that, don't we? And we've all seen it going in and out of the end here. That's in, that's out, that's in, right. So, we're up to date with this, aren't we? We've got that far. So we've got a new project. You know, I like to lock and double lock and treble lock. So we're going to start making switches. Now, do you see this? This is a bolt for the nail, and the nail goes in the hole, which keeps the alarm off on a micro switch. And so when you withdraw it, the alarm goes on. So we've got to use those wires, make that work. However, this is different. This is going to be another way around switch. We're going to put the switch here, so when it's engaged, it'll be here. And when it's disengaged, because it's the only way you're going to get in by making that do that somehow, we're going to have to put a trigger of a switch here, aren't we? We've got a good stop, so we'll make a switch here. So the switch, what will it do? It'll just be an on-off switch, won't it? So I'm thinking for the noise, I've got a klaxon here. So somewhere up around by the door that they can't get to, but around here there will be a klaxon. Or maybe down here behind there that they can't get to, and they'll make one hell of a noise. Because whilst they're working on this, trying to get through here. And also I was thinking of putting like an indicator flasher unit on this. Will I paint it red? I'm not sure. So also when the alarm goes, the light's going to be flashing in their face. The noise won't be outside on a building, although it's covered by its own alarm system. But for this system, it'll just be making a noise in their head. So they can't hear, there's no much noise, they can't even think. And we've got to make our own little secret switch. Do you know how this works, this? Right. So we know how this works. And we've got this, we've got a double cross on it, haven't we? We've got a double, we put this bar in. Let me see that. That doesn't work unless you lift this secret bolt. So we like to double cross, don't we? We like to have two systems or two things working. So the first skin will this, which is sorted up there. That's no problem. Then we've got to trigger this door, so we know if this door opens, then we're going to trigger this lock. So they're not going to be working here and be able to grab the wires or grab the switch or anything, because it's way out of their reach there. So I was thinking of using these, because they're ivory and bone, old butter knives. So you could drill a hole there, you could make a bird box and drill a hole, and that could be part of you could make a switch like that, couldn't you? That you wouldn't know, a switch that isn't a switch. That would be maybe nice. Or would it be nicer that it's placed in here and you have to pull this out of here and put it in there in a different, you know, there is on and there is off. Two different sort of, it's nice and thin, slide down something. It's a bit like our individual sort of, we need to make, like this is a pretty much individual key. We need to make something, we have to think about something that if you ain't got one of them, you're not getting through there very easily. Or even if you haven't got one of these, you're not going to be able to get down in there and turn it. So, we're going to think about that, haven't we? We're going to make some sort of a sneaky plan. You know, I do enjoy making this stuff. So if you've got any ideas, any thoughts, we've got two skins. When they open that door, it'll scream. When they open this door, it'll scream. And if they mess with this lock, it will scream. Yeah, because putting something here would be fairly obvious, and they could either put it together or shut it up somehow. We need to put it in a place where it'll be screaming at them and they can't get at it to damage it, or they can't find it. And of course it's going to be powered. We've got the battery on charge. Got the battery on charge. It's going to be a motorcycle battery. It shouldn't, most alarms are waiting. This will only work when it gets triggered, so it shouldn't use any electric whilst it's waiting to be used. Bear that in mind. Yeah, so what do you think? Let's start thinking. This is what I love about doing this at home now, messing about, thinking about, looking at what you've got. I mean, I do fancy just a bolt in a hole in the wall, and you screw it in and it works, and you screw it out and it just operates a switch, maybe. Just something that you just wouldn't really think about. And meanwhile, it's screaming its head off. Like a master switch. This would be a master switch. You've got to screw this in, switches off all the alarms, or switch them off individually. I don't know. I do quite like the idea though of having this somewhere and simply screw it in, but it would weather, it would get rusty, wouldn't get much use. You want it to work, you want it to look different, you don't want to think, oh, that's a switch. At the same time, you don't want it to perish, because of course it's outside, isn't it? You'd have to make it out of brass or something. I wonder, something like this, look, these, I wonder if that sort of thing gets rusty. Find a big one of those. Anyway, that is the new plan. The new plan is rig up an alarm system, 2 or 3 alarm switches, something that'll shock and awe, you know, make a hell of a noise, and flash a light at them, put that through an indicator 12-volt system on a car, nick a relay from an indicator flasher unit, and make that flash in their face, just make them run away. That's my thoughts anyway. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you gonna be with me? Let's begin. We all know about keys, and you know you've got to bring them with you. And padlocks, they know how to overcome them. Our biggest enemy is a battery powered grindet and cut your ace, and a pair of bolt croppers. Get themselves into, you know, 90% of the places they're trying to break into. We're trying to make something that it's either an individual, if you haven't got, you can't poke anything down there that's going to make this work. There's this, and the whole idea is that only you and me know that this is a separate. Can we see round there? Hold on, let me stretch you as far as I can stretch you. Can you see it? Can you see it working? So we don't need to carry any keys with us. I do like the idea of just being, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you're just not getting in, are you? That's the idea. So we could even if you didn't know this existed, and even if this was underneath a stone outside or whatever, you're not going to get in without it. So we want to make something that works for us, but we don't need to carry keys or anything. It's just our little secret thing that we know about here. Just to demonstrate to you, I've lassoed a bit of string to make this work. So let's follow the string around. I'm so happy with this one, with how we've made this work now. Look. Yeah. Pull the button. Look at that. I'm using the string to connect to the spanner around the corner, but I am so pleased with the way this is working. So strong, and it works. There, look. I'm so chuffed with it. What it is, it's just a spanner, an old vintage spanner I picked up in a car boot, connected via a steel rod inside a piece of scaffolding tube. So this scaffolding tube goes in here. Hold on, it goes through the wall. Let me show you. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it comes through the wall there and comes under this bench. Yeah, comes under this bench. Do you see it's running under the bench, the scaffolding tube? And it goes in the wall there, look. Yeah. So it's out of the way. And there's the bench when I re-put it back in. Need to do the bench. So here is the scaffolding tube coming out. Here is the rod that's connected to the back of the spanner. We've done this, haven't we? And when you turn the spanner, which comes down here, which then drives the pin into the door. And hold on a minute. And of course, there's a big nut on this side of it, isn't it? And when it comes in, it engages. I'm so chuffed with myself. Yeah, I'm so chuffed with myself. We're just this is the next level on. Let's give it a bit of electrical protection, alarm protection now. Well, I just hope I've inspired you to get your thinking head on and make something special, something individual that you can protect your shed with. I've got a few more other bits and pieces. I love doing this. I really do enjoy making it. You probably can tell that, can't you? It's so satisfying. Yeah. And just try and, every time you do something, improve yourself a little more. Start with a standard key lock, standard lock. And then you upgrade yourself and you put yourself a latch and a hasp, put a padlock. Again, they can just cut through it, or they can just snap through it with a set of bolt croppers. So then we improve ourselves again by putting an internal steel door on. Well, the next step is obviously to put a lock on this one that slides across. Slides across in and out like this. Put that on. But then the next step, what you do is you try to protect this, goes up and over and inside there. Quite easy to do once you get used to it, and then you close your lock up. So they can't get it with grindettes or cutters. You put something in its way, you protect your lock, don't you? So that's the next thing you do, which is sort of the next logical step. So then you make another sneaky lock with watching YouTube and getting information. Scrapcrafter sent me the film. There was a few that sent me the film on this one. He said, why don't you do something like this? Which is where the lock comes and it drops down, look. And then I came up with the idea of putting a double lock on it, which is this bolt. Just stops it. It looks big and heavy, but it's sprung into a neutral weight by a spring. I've put the right spring. So now there's no moving this bar, but there's no, it's not difficult to move the bar. It's just a little switch, isn't it? And then we moved on to up, down is up is down. Make the thread come out of here, push that lever down, which in turn pushes this lever up, which then pushes this lever up into this door here, to this keep here. And it was quite a thing. As always, very easy to say, not very easy to do. This lever, and we made it push this, so it's pushing two at the time up here. So we're quite pleased with that. So, you know, each time we've come up with a new idea, a new thought, and of course this one outside was a stroke of genius. Yeah. So what are we going to do next? What are we, as a practice, as a challenge, as a bit of fun? And of course, as you can see, it's all made out of whatever we've got. A bit of scaffolding tube, a couple of nuts and bolts, a couple of bits of metal. You know, this is a bolt that has been, took all the thread off it so it slides in and out easily. Everything's made out of nuts and bolts. We've got a few more sort of ideas, but they haven't come through yet. How am I going to make this work? I'm going to have to reposition it, I think, but this is the lock. When it's shut, but when you pull it open, it's shut too. It's only open in the middle. That's an idea I'm working on, and we've got another one down here that we're working on as well. So we've got plenty of ideas. We've just got to figure them out. Yeah, it'd be nice to do that, but the thing is, knowing me, I'd forget. I'd go and I'd electrocute myself. Forgot to show you this one. Yeah, this one. I forgot to show you this one, which was a bit of fun, which sort of was my first remote lock, and that operates up here. Where are we? Come on, let's come and see. Yeah, look, and it's just enough to foul the door. Just by turning that, it's enough to just stop the door, foul the door. Yeah, and that is simply a rod that goes across from here. Look, it's just enough to foul the door. You know, not easy to come through. The rod comes through here, goes through the wall thing. But it's a bit overcammed, that one. Learned your lesson, but it brought the rod and came around the corner. Look, I nearly forgot to show you that one. I've had so much fun in making these locks.